All right, good morning, everyone. Like we got sound to OBS from the microphone, not from the desktop. Let me pop a few previews, shuffle a couple of windows around so we can see the chats here. Don't need this. Yep, okay, we want this one. Is this running? Nope, doesn't look like it. Good. Okay. Okay. Just successfully flashed. Nice with UF2 bootloader, but I'm not sure how to get into bootloader again to get the boot drive to show up. Let's see. Does it have a boot button? So some of them are. Ooh, sorry about that. Hopefully that wasn't loud. Some of them are use a boot button. So lots of them are hold boot down and then press reset while boot is being held down, and then release reset. And then after you've done that, release boot. Give that a try. I do think some of them, even when they do have that boot button, they do also support the double-click reset. But the timing is... I find it's... I mean, I feel like it's slightly different on different devices. I don't know if it actually is, or if it's... anecdotal, if it's just in my head, or if it's intentionally different, or if there are just differences about the hardware that make it different. But the double tap generally does work in the UF2 bootloader. You just have to, I at least just have to try it a bunch of times. There's a color, if the LED is hooked up, the NeoPixel, it turns a color. I forget if it's yellow or purple. One of those is safe mode too. Green maybe. You can press it while the LED is a color, and that will also get you to the mode. Let's see what they say here about it. Usually they're also good about listing it on this page. May also start up a longer playlist. Plus, that's it, I guess. That's going for a minute here. What do we have here? Bootloader. Okay, so, well, boot and reset on this one is going to go to the actual, ROM bootloader. Is that seeming like? Place the board into bootloader mode. Yeah. USB port. Upload combined bin using the web flasher or ESP tool would work fine, I think. Press reset. Should have boot. Did you get boot the first time, K-Match? After you very first reset it after installing combined bin? Did it come up to boot? Like ESP boot or whatever? I don't know what the exact name would be. How's it going, DJ Devin? Good morning. After you update, check info. You got the boot after loading, okay. And then you put CircuitPython on it. And then now we're trying to go back to the bootloader. It looks like that S3 boot volume. Okay. It looks like on this one that holding boot and pressing reset gets you to like the ROM bootloader. So I don't think that is the way to get to UF2. My guess would be it's the double tap reset, but that it might be just a slightly different cadence potentially than other devices. Just goes to CircuitPy. That's loaded. Let's see, is there I don't know that there is a guide for this one yet. Generally the guide will talk about that if there is one. It's also not a native fruit device, I guess, too. The boot? Yeah, this one's not a feather, but seems like the timing may be specific. Haven't gotten lucky yet. I gotcha. At least I confirmed the bootloader. Yeah, I will probably load that up on mine as well. In fact, I mean, why don't we start there? I would like UF2 copying, so unzip this. Oh, wrong one. Web loader. Nice. Fine combined, so that's one of stored into a USB port on your computer using data sync. You must plug in the UART side port in order to do the actual bootloader flashing, right? Right, because that's what we were loading with ESP tool yesterday. Pull up the camera UART for the crash the first. Yep. Launch that. Oop. Get my camera worked out. Like. Fly on it. CircuitPython S3 double tap will work. I would think it is. I mean, if not the exact same, at least assume the interface is programmed to be. Oh, let's Firefox. I think this might, or at the very least, like you might have to go enable it somewhere. I'm pretty sure I had to go enable something. It's another new one. Huh. Like Espressif, release their own. Makes sense. I mean, I have never used the Espressif one. I assume it doesn't matter, I guess, right? Oh yeah, still haven't taken master out of the box. Working on trying to contribute to Whippersnapper. Oh, that's pretty cool. Awesome for doing that. Yeah, Whippersnapper is awesome. I should look into the process as well of adding a sensor. I saw when Brent mentioned on Show and Tell or somewhere that it was possible. I haven't looked into the exact process yet. I'd be getting it confused with CircuitPython-S3 because I have one of those two. Pretty much makes the color rainbow demo run any faster. Gonna shoot out of the display, put a hole through. No, no holes in the siding, please. Definitely don't want any holes in the siding. Yeah, we were just talking to somebody about like an HVAC change as well. Right as the work was done, we had somebody here talking to him about it, and they're like talking about a couple options. And with one of them, they were like, "Yeah, well, you know, we'd have to cut a hole somewhere, like in your new siding." Off on that. Let it exist as a whole thing for at least a couple of days. I mean. 460-800. Where we go to bootloader by doing boot and reset. Connect. Sound. I mean, my inclination is to say one of these things are not like the other, and I also think we were using TTY USB 0 before, but also since we are flashing bootloaders, maybe we will just verify real fast by unplugging this and then doing this again. Okay. Yeah, now that USB 0 is gone, it's gotta be the way it was. Figured that was the case, but also it doesn't cost hardly anything to double check. Sure. Okay. Very skinny. Actually gonna pull this over to the other window for just a moment to make it easier to go back and forth between all of these and see the camera and everything. Catch up on the chat here as well. Did that last night playing with my Bluefruit Sense and Feather S2. Let me double check. Yeah. Definitely a double checker. I will say it's nice, these ones with the ROM bootloader, like it is pretty difficult to actually mess it up for real in such a way that you can't get back from it, but it's always good. So once we got a successful connection, we're gonna go click erase. Erase. We are then gonna go choose a file. Click any, choose a file. I like the first one. So here, combined, open. Earlier, after successfully choosing combined, click program. Don't do any offsets or anything. Program. Uh-oh. Get enough status bytes. double check these. So we said 460-800, which is what we're on. Click the Commerce serial port from the pop-up window. After successful connection, click Erase. After successful erase, click any, choose a file, locate and select combine, combined bin that we unzipped. After successfully choosing combined bin, click program. After the update is complete, press the reset on the board. New boot drive should appear. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I was thinking the other day too about making a library for this that does the like the soft buttons on the side. Make a library that is like, you know, PyPortal library type thing where it just is made for that hardware and it has nice easy accessors for those side buttons. Okay, so I guess maybe we just try again. Back to try again. It does say paired now, which is interesting. I don't believe it said paired before. Re-choose this. Matter, but like erase is taking longer this time. 5318. Oh, did I not wait for it to finish last? Look like we got the finished message. Okay. My file again. The instructions do say choose the file after erase. I assume it doesn't matter, but okay. Didn't fail as fast at least this time. Nothing else. Always good. Oh, we got a progress bar going even. Nice. And if I recall correctly, I need to keep this tab focused. I think one time I like sent this to the background and started doing other stuff and came back to it and realized that it wasn't running while it was in the background, which I've actually experienced that with other JavaScript stuff as well. With my own JavaScript applications. It says it's paired. Let's see, when it says paired is when I had a problem with the locked COM port and had to use ESP tool. Oh, interesting. I did get an error. You did, me. I got an error during Flash, which I haven't seen happen before. Slip read error, never seen that. Looks good now. Gotta erase it first, really, then bin. Okay. Yeah. Unfocusing. I do recall that being by that. Fool me once, never again, hopefully. Next time. There we are. Hooray. This is so amazing. Thank you so much for working on this K-Match. I think people are going to really dig these. I'm excited to see what people make with them. Okay. Playlist? So you said you got ESP tool at 921-600. Oh, the other thing, I think Lady Ada mentioned in one of the messages, or through PT, I think, mentioned making a basically portal base support for this device. So like, you know, the PyPortal library and Matrix Portal library and MagTag library and a bunch of those all extend from portal base and provide easy, like, you know, web IoT based project interface. You just want to fetch some data from the internet and show it on the screen with a couple of graphics that are basic. That library helps you do that. They mentioned though trying to get, you know, if we need to make a hack tablet one that extends portal base or whatever, somehow though we'll be able to make one that will kind of give that same PyPortal library interface to this tablet, which will be really cool as well, because then a bunch of the existing PyPortal projects will, I'll say, you know, just work. Some, you know, like graphics and stuff will obviously not be sized to the same size as the screen, so you know, you'd probably want to tweak it if you were going to use it for real to fit the screen better, but in terms of actually like the code running will work, which is pretty nice. Maybe that's the place to handle the buttons, truthfully. Maybe we just make a hack tablet portal library and it also has the buttons, because the PyPortal library does, and all the rest of those libraries that are like it, like MagTag, they have a peripherals object inside of that library which holds all of the hardware that is on that board built in. So the buttons here would be like the perfect, in the touchscreen really would be perfect to implement inside that peripherals. It could then have high-level functions or properties for, like, is up arrow pressed or whatever. You could pull it to find out which one of those things is being touched, if any. Love my MagTag. Only portal-based device I have. Low power sleep is mind-blowing on the MagTag because of the e-ink. Yeah, wakes up for like 2 minutes a day, pulls weather, goes back to sleep for 24. Yeah, you can run for so long off of a tiny little battery. I got my MagTag on my desk here. Well, keep hearing about peripherals module. Never used it. Most of the time I spent on the TFT Featherwing. Yeah, it's nice if you are doing a PyPortal project and you want to, like, you know, pull data from the onboard sensors and stuff like that, or control the onboard NeoPixel. It's basically just like giving you access to all of the built-in devices on that board. Okay, looks like we completed. To run the new firmware, please reset your device. So what I'm gonna do, I guess, is we probably want to switch back to USB, so I'm gonna unplug and switch back there. There we go. Now we will grab the most recent build that we made yesterday. We did figure out we want this other one. We want new CircuitPython. So I do think I figured out what happened with the other one. I think that branch where the circles weren't disappearing, I think that's a much older branch, a much older project. I think it even was before basically that I fixed Vector IO to work with hidden groups. That was not initially working. needed a change in the core. I think I did that probably a month or two ago, and I think that other project just wasn't. It was from before that. So we should just have a build in here, I think. You know, I guess I could use. I usually do CP for it. S3 DKC. And ways to make it easier to connect a microcontroller to these 40-pin displays. Oh, let me catch up on a couple of the others. Like the idea of the addition of portal base. One other base level thing you mentioned is build a core.h to make all the pin names. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Are these broken out here too? If you were to put like female headers on these, can you plug in stuff to the I/O pins on the microcontroller to those? Started with the Adafruit display breakout and backlight driver TFT friend and a 40-pin FPC connector. Giant mess of wires. One big challenge with using the displays is the 40-pin flat cable pinouts are all different? Oh no. RA8875 breakout for that 40-pin. That's all the pins. Oh, that's awesome. Ah, smart. Yeah, good idea. Okay, I think we completed here. Did we get CircuitPy back, or yeah, we got CircuitPy now. Actio, it's probably just running the circle thing from yesterday. Or hard crashed maybe? Or oh, we wiped it. Oh. That wasn't very smart. Yeah. So, is there anything on it right now? Not really. Hello World, CodePy, no libraries, no other code. We're gonna go. Oh, this is still open. We're gonna go to this. Would have changed at 9:42. I suspect this will take a minute and not really give me any feedback while it's working. Oh, okay. I did lose still the CodePy. Oh, and this is empty. All of these are empty. Grab this and just get it out of here to somewhere safer. Sure what the revert did. I should have been able to revert this. I mean, this does show code getting deleted, I'm pretty sure, is why that's gray. Fingers crossed. Big display pool. Yeah. Acceleration. Nice. Okay. I think we're back. So, allow me to just say thank you, PyCharm, for saving me from myself, because I did absolutely just delete all of the stuff on this device, and it managed to get it back for me, which is super cool. And while we're here, what I'm going to do actually is just take another copy of what I have right now. That way, if I do that again, I'll have an even easier way to revert. But hopefully I won't do that again. Yeah. I'm glad that I started loading up devices this way. I have this workspace that is a folder on my PC. This is where the project is at, but I added my media folder as a sources root so that it, even though it's not inside the project, it treats it as inside the project, which means it keeps the local history of all the changes and everything. So even though we deleted it, we were able to go to the local history, find our changes from yesterday, revert them back. Ooh, did our images work though? Maybe our images are still broken. So curious about archive. I don't really know what would be there. Like maybe our images are broken. They have size? I'm not selecting enough things? Not opening the right file. Alright, let me try one more this way. Really, the CodePy and the K-match test are the two things I'm most interested in. It'd be nice to get these images back, but with a bit of luck, maybe K-match, if you still have access to a copy of these images, maybe I could get you to share them to me as well. This one doesn't work. Tab layout. Not enough RAM. Yeah. How's it going, Paul? I did the deep dive stream yesterday, yeah. No, we were on deep dive yesterday. It's on the Adafruit account though, remember, not mine. So it is a different YouTube and a different Twitch than the one I'm on right now. Yeah. It's weird. So it's like it's not. Some of the files are empty. I don't quite. I am happy that it got me my. I guess it's just. It's not reverting. It's like it's not changing things that were not also changed. That's super weird how I open that Blinka and it goes to underscore code. Thank you, my friend. I will download these here. And we got a copy of those. We can put them back. And really the CodePy is one of the things in this one. Well, this one's not filled in either though. Ah, actually, this one is the original one. This one is the K-match test. So actually, I did have a backup of this before, but not of my own code. Oh. Okay. Was in YouTube. Also saw someone else saying no hammering. Oh, I see. Yeah, no, they were saying no hammering because there's nobody doing work on my house anymore. The work finished up on my house because the last couple of streams I did, there was like hammering and power tools and stuff in the background. I think that's what they were talking about. You're using Ondis bitmap for the background. Oh, that's in DJ Devon's. It's the best you can do for RAM. Yeah. Get bubble, not yet. Let me do bubble. Like also clear this. I can't clear it actually. Oh, I see. Okay. So I think a bunch of these are empty as well, so I'll need to get the libraries back. And delete these. Oh, you know what I haven't tried in a minute is isn't there a Circup Auto? Oh. Ah. You use Circup though? I used Circup to install these things. Oh, but I guess it's probably broken because it can't read boot out. So let's delete boot out and reset it. Oh, purple. I think that the bootloader is press reset again while the NeoPixel is purple. And we got on flashing rampage today. First the board, yeah. Yeah. Well, flashing the board deleted all the stuff that was on it, which I didn't think about before I did it. Get a boot out. Okay. Back up. Let's close that so we keep. This should get a boot out. It does actually have stuff in it though. Okay. Got a different error. Clock is greater than -1. My circuit. Hmm. Do we want to chase this, or do we want to keep going? Install the stuff some other way. Chase it for a little bit. Let's see what we can find on the circuit side. If that's actually broken, it'd be good to get that fixed. First of all, let's just uninstall it, and then let's install it from main. Be the same version, but in case. .563. Probably still something weird about my board, isn't it? There's probably an empty file or something that is confusing it. So when I deleted the libraries, did I delete them in the backup and not on the board? Yeah. Okay. That's probably why. It was trying to open one of those empty files and find a version or something inside of it. But it was empty, so of course it couldn't. So then I guess the question is, should CircuitPython recognize that situation and give you a different error? Or just delete the file? I think if it opens the file and it tries to look for a known thing inside of it, like the version, and it doesn't find it, I would almost say it should just... You know, I was going to say it should just delete it and then download a new one. Maybe it could change the name instead of delete it. That way, like, it's not deleting something that you might want, but maybe it just changes the name to, like, invalid or something, puts that on the end or the beginning. Okay, and we got those loaded. Oh. Size? Did I modify the display annotation? I might have. Now that I think about it, it does ring a bell. Or... Oh, max. This is from group max size. The published one not updated? I just need a release. Do I have changes? Not in here. I guess I could have changed it on the board, though. It would be gone, so we could go back and find it. Doesn't tell you which versions it installed. Seems like it does not have the current version, though, right? Oh, interesting. ESP32-S3 doesn't support that much flash yet. Okay, now we're back. Look into annotation circup install. Yeah. N8R8 is made by Espressif, but it's the one that is designed to... It's the one that this board on the back that Kmatch made is designed to plug into. Kmatch made this board that takes these N8R8s. We are still looking good with the bottom weirdness too. I haven't seen any of that stuff since we changed the frame rate. I saw you found some more history on the like frame rate speed change inside the core. You know, I think what I'll work on next is we should probably add a force refresh. Like here, it should be like force refresh true. This defaults to false, and then this drives the logic for that if statement that we changed to just be true. Yeah, target versus native. I do think target was... Well, target, I think, implies that you might not hit that speed, whereas native frames per second maybe is the speed that you are hitting, you know, without regard to what the speed you wanted was. Okay, we're gonna have to go to shared binding first to do any of this, so let's do that. I don't actually remember where all we will have to change things, so I'll open up a bunch of these here. Bindings H. Yeah, we'll have getters and setters for it. This is going to be a Boolean. Bridge needed to be restocked. How's it going, C. Grover? Logic to trigger a refresh. For the logic to trigger a refresh for this display, should it do everything in that section of code or just a subset? That's a good question. Yeah, it might be that it could be limited a little bit more than it is. I don't actually know for sure. We could play with that a bit as well. Okay, so we'll need some changes in shared binding C. The constructor called make new, I think, in here. Yeah. So we can, luckily auto refresh exists and is the same type of variable that we want pretty much. So we can kind of just copy these, go force, check on this, check on this, on this. Default is going to be false. That way you have to set it to true if you want it to do that. Otherwise you'll get the current default behavior, which is check if it's dirty before actually refreshing. Okay, so where's the next one that does auto refresh? Construct, and it's passing it, so we'll do force. Okay. Need getters and setters declared in here, I think. Yeah. Would be a separate function or something in the constructor. For the force refresh, I think it should go. I mean, I think it should be in the constructor, but then also be a property that you can get or set as a property, just like auto refresh. So you can do it when you construct it, or you can also do it after the fact if you access or change the property. Okay, almost there. Go. I think that's everything we need on the shared bindings side. Now we go back to shared module. And we need to implement get and set functions for the property. Then we just need to add the logic inside the refresh that actually checks this new field and alters the behavior. Interesting. Auto refresh only appears at one spot in here. Okay. We added our force as well. Shared bindings. No, shared module. Okay, so we add this to the constructor. I don't think we need to do that. This is basically a mechanism, it seems like, trying to stop it from showing stuff on the display while it's still initializing, because it won't show proper things. It will just show weird memory color blocks, I assume. But as long as that mechanism works, then we don't really care about force refresh being on or off at this point. It should just be whatever the user set it to, I think. Because whether it's on or off, we already are using auto refresh to not draw right now, so this only takes effect when we do draw. This tells us we're not drawing, therefore this has no effect at this time. I don't think we need to like set it false and then change it at the end like this is doing. Instead, we just set it right away to what the user gave us in the constructor. This is still part of the mechanism making it not run while it's setting up. That's fine. We don't need any of that. Okay, I don't think we need any change inside of here. Oh, hey, self.core.last refresh. This might help you get the frame rate. If you are still interested in getting the frame rate image, you could maybe like print this each time and subtract them or something. 1 GB of external flash. One gigabyte? 1 gigabyte of RAM on a microcontroller? Dang. I have to figure out how to expose the frame rate on the CircuitPython side. Core.last refresh. Might be able to just make a getter property for last refresh on the display and have it just return this self.core.last refresh. I may tinker with that a bit as well, see if I can get it into a usable state. One thing that's going to be tricky about the frame rate, though, is anything you can do to report the frame rate to yourself is going to slow it down, I think. So like if you're printing it in the console, those print statements are going to slow it down. If you're drawing it on the screen, that's probably the best way to do it, is draw it on the screen. That still probably slows it down some, and it will also depend on what else is being shown. But if you draw it with really small text, just a default label somewhere, I would guess that is the least disruptive way to show it. Hopefully it won't be changing fast enough that you can't read it. Yeah, complicated. Average frame rate per second. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, keep track of it over time and then only update it once per second or a couple of seconds or something. How's it going, Janiscu? Okay, so here I don't think we need any force refresh logic. Okay, here's our get and set auto refresh. We definitely want to make 2 of these that are for force refresh. Oh. Change the right part of it, why don't we? And again, this is still logic to do with the first, the first time or whatever, right? While it's initializing this first manual, I think we don't need any of this logic. I think we just say self force refresh equals whatever the user told us. Because all of that auto refresh logic still applies and still kind of takes precedent over our force refresh. If auto refresh is not allowing us to refresh, force refresh just does nothing. So the user calls refresh, I guess, but doesn't need to have different behavior as far as I understand it. Got our getter and setter. We're getting pretty close. I don't know that we need much else. Background. I don't even know what that does. Background. Backlight? No. Update backlight. Refresh. I don't think this is exposed on the CircuitPython side. I don't know what background would do. Release display. Turning auto refresh off. Do we turn force refresh off also? Yikes. Frozen feather. Only print the frame rate every n frames, yeah. LVGL. I'm curious, I'm hoping one of these days we'll eventually get bindings for that in CircuitPython as well. I've run across LVGL, and it seems super cool. It would be neat to have display IO bindings or whatever we need to make it so you can run LVGL. Jeez. This is a, oh yeah, this is a ESP32-S3. Wow. Yeah, the refresh is really nice. Like all of this, like visualizer stuff here. I'm surprised this stuff is, that nice. That's really good. Wow. Bottom right corner. Oh yeah, 33. Like to me for a second, I can't read it now. 23, 33. It's a little clippy on the big ones. And these are basically torture tests though, right? Huh. Let's see. So this is release. Okay, yeah, we added our set this to false. It's weird though, if we're about to release it, what does setting it to false do, I wonder? Frozen Feather will be the name of the LN2 competition. Auto refresh here, this is reset. Reset sets auto refresh to true. Kind of interesting. Guess we set force refresh to false then. Back to its default value. Okay, that's the last usage of auto refresh, so will it build? That's the next question. I'm gonna guess probably not the first time, but maybe we can get there pretty quick. Yeah. IDF. A little better. On a serious safety note, where I worked before, there was more incidents due to nitrogen than with the toxic gases. Oh wow. Yeah, never had any first-hand experience with liquid nitrogen. Dry ice is about the closest thing that I have had any hands-on experience with. Gloves-on experience with. Yeah, we'd guess the fumes after a while, right? I mean, it's just gassing into the air the whole time that it's at room temperature. I don't really know anything about it, though. Before args? Oh, we don't have missing semicolon, probably? Like missing semicolon. Is in shared bindings D. This compiler is pretty awesome, the way it like has colors and the way it's like pointing you exactly to where the problem is with ASCII art here. This is pretty awesome as far as compilers go. It wasn't a semicolon, but a comma. Makes sense though. It probably tells me that, honestly. I just didn't read all of it. Correct. Too many arguments. Force refresh undeclared. Third bindings. Ah. Need another visit from the pirate here. Arg. Arg. Horse. Brush. Okay, next one. No marks. Comma. Yeah. Comma. That's true. Too many args. Third binding's 80. For construct. Buffer display construct. So we've added our extra argument here. When we're calling, we must have failed to add it correctly in the implementation of the function. Or the H file? Maybe in the H file. Ah, yes. Step at a time. Okay. Closer. Leaking nitrogen into closed spaces causes asphyxiation or reduced oxygen concentration. Yeah, that's some of the scariest stuff is like rooms with no oxygen in them. It's so just like silent and deadly. Doesn't feel like anything is there because nothing is there, but nothing that you need is there. That's such a crazy place to be where they have oxygen absent environments and stuff. Yeah. I would guess. Not a fun time at all. Oof. I would never want to be messing with any of that stuff and be on a ladder at the same time. Definitely not. Okay, so we got a build. Let's try going to bootloader mode. So I'm going to try with double tap reset. And I think I did spy it do the purple light. And I think that if we press reset again while it's purple... Nope, I didn't get it. Either that's not how we do it, or I didn't get it. CircuitPy. One thing I am going to do is, like, try to chill a little bit. I'm not going to just retry as fast as I can. Because I suspect that connecting and reconnecting devices super duper quick is making a chance for my computer to freeze. And I don't want my computer to freeze. So I am going to try to not do that so fast. Maybe one thing we could try is... I mean, is there any chance that holding boot and then pressing reset but being plugged into the USB port would show our boot drive? That doesn't seem like it would work. It's worth a quick try. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna reset it standard. Maybe is it yellow? Do it during the yellow? What is all this? Oh, this is the bootloader or whatever answered when I did that. Interesting. Huh. Weird. I'm gonna take this back out to start with, and I'm gonna give this like a dummy script that doesn't really do as much, on the off chance that it like trying to do stuff while I'm resetting it is gonna cause trouble for it, or really more truthfully what I'm worried about is trouble for my PC. I don't want it to lock up on me while I am trying to stream. Okay, so my double tap caused this stuff, maybe. Weird. Got it. Click reset, then when booting, click boot. Still haven't had luck with double clicking. Let me catch up here. Halogen fire suppression, yeah. The unpowered? Supposed to do the reset boot click with it unpowered, I thought. Thought it had to be plugged in. I had it plugged in. I mean, generally when you do it plugged into the other port though, if you're actually going to use ESP tool or the website. Got it. Click reset, then when booting, click boot. Okay, so maybe the second click is the boot button and not the reset button. Ah, yeah, indeed. Good catch. That is interesting. Honestly, it should, you know what we should do is CircuitPython.org to add it to that page, because that would be a good place for that information. And I assume this applies to all of these, truthfully, but like down here, it should have one more sentence that says, with this bootloader, here's how you access the boot drive. Okay, copy it on. So start with nothing really changes because we rewrote our CodePy to just be print hello world, not do anything else. We'll switch back to the touch one, and then we'll add that force refresh argument kind of one step at a time to make sure that, you know, if we're gonna crash somewhere, we figure it out, hopefully, before it's like trying to do everything at once. On-off switch would be pretty nice for bootloader, yeah. When I was going to boot mode, it shows red LED, then green. Yep, that's when you're, yep, that is exactly what it does when you're in the bootloader. The purple you can use as the trigger to get there, though. It seems like if you press the boot button while the LED is purple, that's what then changes it to like red and then green. Or that's what gets you into bootloader mode, which then, you know, causes the red and green colors to happen. They do, DJ Devin, no, they do. They do. The majority of the other devices that I have seen are different than this. The majority of the rest of the devices are, well, I won't say the majority, let me rephrase that. Most of the devices that I have seen, so I can't say the majority of all devices everywhere, I haven't seen that many of them, but the ones that I have seen that have the two buttons like this, they work differently than this one. The other ones I've seen are hold boot, press reset, release reset, and then let go of boot. And that is also how you get to the ROM bootloader on this one, but getting to the UF2 bootloader is different. It's press, release, reset, then press, release, boot. essentially the boot is like your second reset. In the normal workflow, you press reset twice. In this workflow, you go reset once and then boot once, and that second boot is kind of your filling in for that other reset, it seems like. Yeah. That's how to run the built-in. Yep, the ROM bootloader is hold boot, press release reset, then release boot. This one, I don't know if it's intentionally like that, but this I think is the only one I've seen that uses boot as the UF2 bootloader as well. Let's see where we ended up here. Are we on probably just hard fault from the reset? Or, well, actually probably just finished running Hello World and then nothing else happened, yeah. Or didn't quite reset for some reason until I focused to here, which is weird. My camera dead? Oh, okay. I do think this looks like it's starting to gray out here, but honestly, oh yeah, it is. Okay, the angle I'm on as well. Okay, which makes sense though because, well, no, but I didn't actually go and change the logic for force refresh. Okay, we'll check that next. Of course, at this point, it didn't even initialize the display, so force refresh doesn't matter at all because we never even initialized the display in this case, actually. Yeah, okay. So we're actually initializing the display. Should I just pass it to start with, or should we do it the other way first? Let's do it the normal way first. Let's just make sure we didn't break anything else. Well, and actually at this point, whether or not we pass it won't matter, because we never did make any logic that looks at the value, changes the behavior yet. Right now, we actually are still just hard-coded with it being true, essentially. So yeah, actually we get no difference here. But the good news is this means we didn't break anything. All the stuff we added, which is super cool. So next we will go here. Actually pass force refresh. See if that breaks anything. The stubs is still not going to know about it, but that's fine. There's our hard fault. It's been normal for me, at least. Probably is my power situation. Interesting, it does print all of this stuff each time it goes by. Okay, did not crash. We could even verify the properties maybe by going print display dot force refresh, and then maybe display dot force refresh equals false, and then print it again. And so we should see true from the constructor, then false because we changed it to false. And after that, we'll also try without setting it to true in the constructor because it should default to false, and we want to verify that. We save, we'll probably get to hard fault here. Wait for that and then press reset. There is an issue on org, CircuitPython org. Yeah, thank you. It's inevitable people are going to get it backwards from experience with other steps. Why does everything have to be in megabits? It was confusing when I was looking at chips. Okay, so there's our fault. We'll go reset. Oh, nope, has no attribute. We didn't get the first print either. We never did see a print true. think I forgot the thing that I always forget, which is in shared bindings, C file, down towards the bottom, there's a big list of all the stuff that exists on the object. This, I did not add it to here. Okay. Yep. Make a checklist or something. I feel like I always forget this step. I've only added a few things to the core, but the majority of them I have done this exact thing. Forgot this bit of it here. Changed everything else, got it already, and then didn't. And then this is like what's adding it to the CircuitPython API. So all the rest of the stuff exists as core functions. This is what makes it so that CircuitPython can actually see this stuff, do anything with it. End up getting the wrong chip. Anyway, this FeatherSense uses a USON 8 and not a SOIC 8. Why J4 instead of clean? I need to run clean the first time. I typically run, well, so J4 makes it run faster sometimes. Like I've done a trial with different builds where I did it without J4 and then one with J4. And the ones with J4 can go faster in some cases at least. It does seem like it's not as simple as it's just always faster. Sometimes there are slower ones, like this took 1:13, whereas the previous build only took 32 seconds. So that's over double, even though I did it the same way. But J4 makes it faster. Clean, generally I use clean if my build fails and I don't know why. I will try cleaning and making a new one, and sometimes it succeeds the next time. It just had some cached thing that was no longer accurate or whatever, no longer correctly set to what it needed to be, and that could cause the build to fail. So then clean is one of the first like troubleshooting steps. Multi-threading, yeah, I believe so. I believe that's how the make, that's what that does with make. I will say I don't have that much like actual knowledge about make. Everything I do is just kind of following instructions for CircuitPython stuff, so I am not well suited to actually really confirm all the way what's happening, but that is my understanding, is that it does use multiple threads. I did try doing J higher than 4, like J8, J6. None of those seem to make any difference. But J4 versus not J4 did. Sometimes I got like, I mean, this is actually a pretty good representation. This like 32 seconds for the fast one and 1:13 for the slow one. I was getting similar kind of results, like with and without J4. Even though in this case I actually got it 2 different results with J4 both times, but. Aha, true false. And so, yeah, so this prints true false, but the actual behavior is not different. So this will still not fade out. When we implement the actual logic to check our property, then this would start fading out if we left it on false. So let's do that bit. Where we changed that was in shared module C, and it was like, this thing. Inside refresh? Yeah, refresh display. 6 cores, so it'd be J6. I tried more. I believe I have more than 4. I tried more than 4, and it didn't seem to make any difference. At least not as noticeable of a difference as J4 versus not J4 at all. So this originally was like if current area. So could it be if current area or self force refresh? If force refresh is true, then we don't care about current area, but if force refresh is false, then we do check current area, which is what we used to do anyway. I think that's right. I'm going to double check the current main just to make sure I got the if current area bit correct. Yeah. Okay. Bootloader. Trigger refresh on this display. Just need to call the swap buffers. We also need to do this stuff closer up to the if current area. Basically, the question is, do we need to do this stuff? I would think so, because it seems like this is like setting this, which then gets used by the swap buffer thing. It seems to me like this bit of code is kind of like preparing this dirty row bit mask, which is then going to get used by this. I mean, I'll also say I don't really understand this bit all the way either. That's just kind of like guess about it. Got true we theoretically should fade out this time. We continue not touching it. I believe it should fade out because it should be on force refresh false, which means it's only checking current area, which means we're not changing anything, therefore we should be not refreshing. Ergo, we should be fading. We will give it a minute. It does take it a minute. It kind of looks to me like it is, but I'll let it go for a little bit more and it'll hopefully become even more apparent. What's interesting is the lines in the like MP4 compression kind of make it easier to see the fading area growing, if that is what is actually happening. If there let's see, if there's no dirty areas, not sure if we need all those lines. It's very possible. Yeah, I do not know for sure. We could try splitting it out and do like, we could make this else if, like if force refresh, then just call this. Well, but this gets created in, this gets created inside of here. Can we do, is this optional? Can we remove this parameter? I was thinking like, you know, like this could be else if current area. This could be if this. And this could be in here, but oops. But this will be doesn't exist yet. Since compiling is still a single-threaded process, it doesn't matter how many current cores you throw at it. It's not really multi-threading. I gotcha. It is faster, though, with J4, I found. At least anecdotally. Maybe not a big deal, since current area would be null. The while loop won't execute anyway. That's, yeah. I mean, yeah. If there was no change, it would be null. Yeah. Actually does not seem like it is fading. Ah. I don't use this very much anymore. Not used to starting it up these days. Can you concatenate booleans? Hmm. How do we print a boolean? Hmm. Oh, failed that time. But wait a minute. Whoa. Oh. Push refresh false. We have the version that's calling refresh instead of being auto refresh on. No. Maybe these are calling hidden true over and over each frame. And that's counting as a change that's actually making it refresh. Size there a bit so we can see the screen here. Okay, so now it is fading, which makes total sense because it's set to false, force refresh, and we took out the bit that bit was actually causing it to change technically and redraw itself. Since even though we were just calling hidden true on something that was already hidden, that's counting as a change. And so now we see we're not doing the refreshes anymore. So if we do take out this, then it should stay true, which means we should still refresh and we won't fade anymore. Although we will probably hard fault first on mine. Yeah. So then the one more test we want to do after this is not passing this in. We want to make sure that it's false. So indeed we do see that it is now true, and it is doing this over and over again very, very fast. It's still going to this point, like, fast. So it won't fade. All of this still works. These, of course, don't go away because I took out the code that gets rid of them. It will move if I touch. They'll stay there, but we won't see any fading at this point. Sweet. Okay, so then let's go without this. We should then be false here, and we should be back to seeing fading when this one runs after we reset. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Okay. Got false. We did 2 refreshes due to dirty areas. We haven't done any more yet. We are starting to fade already. I can see the corners. Even see the ghost of Blinka up there from before we showed our display IO group. And of course we could touch and that would snap it back. These will stay there again just like last time, but we will no longer be refreshing, so we'll start fading again. We'll see the corners go. So I guess one last thing that we should also verify is that setting it true with the property works correctly. We did see that setting it true with the constructor works, but we should also validate going display.force refresh true like this. We want to make sure this prints true here and that it does refresh and we don't fade. We'll save that. We'll also go back and take out some of the prints in the core. Gonna run see y'all. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, K-Match. Appreciate all the help. And of course, again, thank you so much for everything you've done on this device and making some available to folks in the community. I'm super excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope you have a nice day and a nice weekend. There we go. Got our refreshes now, so property is working. Oh, auto reloaded. Probably will hard fault. Yeah. I think that's something to do with this focusing or closing CodePy or something. I think something in there triggered a rewrite of the code file. Like from the IDE triggered it to rewrite, which then of course caused this to reboot. Okay, so I think the last thing I'll do is just, I will go back and get rid of these prints. Okay. There may still be others. I think these are the ones I added this time at least. Oh, well, I guess I should make a build and make sure it works. One last sanity check on this build. Shouldn't, I mean, obviously nothing should have changed because all we did was take prints out, so. But we'll double check, and then if this is all good, I'll commit this stuff. Mostly my changes to frame buffer display. ESP IDF stuff. think we won't commit. We do still need to work out. Essentially what we'll need to do there is just PR K-matches branch of the IDF into the CircuitPython fork of the IDF. That happens on my Feather sometimes if I haven't touched it for a while. Then I even touch the open folder of the Feather, the drive reboots. Yeah. Must be keep alive. That's a good guess. Yeah. Okay, we got our build. Go to bootloader. Copy. Oh no. I don't know what that's gonna do. Okay, well, let's see if we don't have the prints anymore. We do have our one CodePy print. Yeah. Oopsies. I don't even know where that came from. Must have keyboard smashed it. Surprised it didn't mess anything up. I guess it doesn't look for the name of the file, firmware. It must just look for it to be a UF2 file somehow. I'm pretty sure what that would have done is saved firmware.uf2 as a file just called m onto the drive. Surprised that did anything. But yeah, we're not getting the prints anymore. We are still refreshing, of course, though. Otherwise, we would start fading and we'd see it in the corners. So I think we're good here. And I'm basically going to commit just these for now. Commit failed. That's probably pre-commit. Yep. Try again. Did that time. Go push our commits. Yep. Oh, capitals to lowers? I mean, both do the same thing, don't they? Maybe they're going to make it not do the same thing eventually. One redirects to capitals. Oh, but this doesn't. Weird. Maybe we'll build it as a maybe we'll build it as a device. Maybe we'll make a new entry on circuitpython.org and then it can have it can get built for it automatically, and we could give it a board definition which includes the display. So we could maybe even just have board.display the same way we can on a PyPortal and all of those with built-in. That might be kind of cool to have its own build for this hack tablet. And there's not going to be that many of them in the world, but for the folks that do get them, that would be kind of cool if they could not have to worry about making a different build and would still be able to use it as though it's a built-in display. That would be a good exercise one of these days as well, truthfully. I've never done the exercise of adding a display to a board definition. I think I'm not going to submit this PR now for core. We could still probably, I'm sure there's cleanup and different stuff we want to do. I did want to take a quick look at what the differences were, though, just to get an idea in my mind, like the scale of differences that we're looking at in order to get this stuff in. It would make using display and other stuff easier, yeah, for sure. Maybe I'll give that a try one of these days. I'll probably try it on a standard display first, like a maybe like a featherwing display. That would be a SPI display, more traditional one. And then after I get that, then maybe move over to this dot clock display. Since this is like a whole new module and everything as well, I'd rather figure it out using an existing one so I have stuff to reference. Then once I get it down, hopefully I'll know the process to do it on this one. Just change the actual instructors that it calls and stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to head out for now. So thank you to everybody for watching. Of course, huge thanks again to Kmatch for all of the work on this tablet and for sharing the photo earlier of the new ones, which we'll be giving out to some folks in the community to help us test and get this stuff finalized. Again, I mentioned last night on Deep Dive, but this is still the case. Keep an eye out next week. We should have an announcement out this upcoming week if you are interested in getting one of these tablets. So keep an eye out for that. And as always, you can also ping me on Discord if you want, and I will put you on my list to send that to directly in addition to whenever we publish it. We'll get it published somewhere. I'll probably write it on Gist, and maybe we'll try to get it published in the Adafruit blog or community newsletter or something like that. But yeah, that's where we're at on that. So thanks again, everybody. I hope everybody has a good day and a good weekend and all of that. I will catch you all next time. Thanks.